Well, good morning. Welcome back to the Broadcast Retirement Network. I'm Jeff Snyder. This is BRN AM for Wednesday, October 20th, 2021. And our top story today, robots are hiding 27 million workers from employers that need them. Joining me now to discuss this, a lot more, Carrie Hannon is an author and columnist. Carrie, it's great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us on the program this morning.
Terrific to be with you, Jeff. Thanks for the invite.
Okay, so let's do a quick book plug here, and we're going to talk about an article you wrote. But this new book, I love it because I'm going to be 50 next year. How can we order it? Where can we get it?
Yeah, well, thank you. In Control at 50 Plus, How to Succeed in the New World of Work. And it's a McGraw-Hill is my publisher on it. And it's on pre-order now on Amazon and a couple of other spots. So just indie books, I think, also. Just look for it. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, and we'll have you back to discuss the book in detail when it comes out. But, we don't want to spoil all those pre-sales. Okay, right? I mean, I'm sure the publisher wouldn't want that to happen, but we can tease a little bit. We'll tease a little bit. Okay, let's talk about a story you wrote. Robots, so systems are basically excluding 27 million workers who are either unemployed, underemployed. What can you tell us about this? This is pretty disturbing.
I know, it's so extraordinary. But the thing is, Jeff, this has been happening for a while. I mean, it's not that this is brand new, but what has happened is coming out of the pandemic, it's increasingly become something that employers have become reliant on to screen resumes. So it's just, boom, you're just out of luck. If there's so many ways that you can be eliminated, and employers realize that they're missing out on these people, but they actually don't care because it just cuts through the clutter of getting through the process. So the chances of you actually getting to speak to a human being are very slim through these electronic resume submissions, and actually having a human being review it. And so there's some sort of techniques that you can take to kind of try to get around it. But this Harvard Business School study, I think, is really powerful in making the point that, hey, the playing surface is not even.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically gaming the system. You can game the system if you know the search criteria. We'll talk about tips in the second segment. But what's the reaction? You mentioned employers acknowledge it, that this is occurring. I mean, you're leaving. We always talk about with you, especially Carrie, but we always talk about the building a team, and a team has diverse opinions. Those diverse opinions have men, women, all different types of perspectives, including mature workers as well. So what are employers saying to you and others about this?
Well, as I said, they realize that it's screening people out, but the fact is this has become the method for resumes to be submitted to employers is electronically. And this is one way that they can kind of cull through them very quickly to get at the specific criteria. So it is very, specific. And if you've been out of work for a period of time, you can be eliminated very quickly. And there's so many things that can trip you up, but they put in all these filters to really get down to a core set of characteristics and skills that they think will be essential to that job without taking in all the other things. Like you just mentioned, can you actually screen for experience and know-how and sort of the ballast that an experienced worker brings to the workplace? No, that's something that you have to actually meet the person.
Yeah, the intangibles. So I'm a guy who I would probably fail those screens, okay? Because what I bring to the table is I bring some knowledge, but also the intangibles. You talk to workers. You're doing all these seminars, either virtually or in person, with women and helping them kind of guide them through issues like this. What are people that you're talking to saying about this?
Oh, it is so demoralizing. I can't tell you this ghosting, like you will send off a resume electronically and you hear nothing. And it is really discouraging, demoralizing, and you feel rejected without understanding why. And you take it personally when it's not even a person evaluating you. It's the electronics, it's the AI, the artificial intelligence. It's just gotten more and more, very precise at being able to weed through these resumes. It's really hard for workers, and really it's workers of all ages. I think younger workers have issues with this method as well, because there are certain things and ways to game the system, but they get copped out pretty easily as well.
And a lot of times, Carrie, you don't even hear back. This is my biggest hang up, coming from customer service and supporting clients of all stripes, all sizes, just the courtesy of a response. A lot of times you might get like a, hey, thanks for the submission. Maybe you get an email to your address, but a lot of times, if you don't even make the cut, they don't even tell you.
No,
to me, that is a loss of decorum that has implications beyond just what we're talking about.
It's so impersonal, and so it's really so unfortunate, because it takes the human element out of the job search. And I think both employers and employees suffer because of this, because you miss finding really those special relationships, that loyalty, finding someone who's actually passionate about your business, or, and what you do, your service, your product, and you lose out. You don't get these people to come into your fold. And I think it's a real loss for everyone.
Yeah, it makes it transactional. And it's almost like you're Venmoing money or Zelling money, whatever system you use, right? This is very transactional. Okay, Carrie Hannon doesn't fit the bill, boom, right? They don't even know your name. They just say, okay, she didn't put this, and this on that. From a business owner's perspective or a nonprofit executive director's perspective, I want to recruit people that are passionate, not only knowledgeable, that have the intangibles, they're qualitatively and quantitatively meet all the stuff, but I want people who are really going to go the extra mile. That's how I'm going to build a culture. That's how I'm going to build a business or an organization.
Yeah, without question. And that's where this trips it up. I understand it's a time-saving device. It's, weeding through a stack of resumes, because people are applying to jobs like crazy, right? And coming out of the pandemic even more so. But it's this sense of filtering that really takes out the critical piece of making a good match.
Yeah, it's actually unbalanced when you think about all these employers are looking for workers. Well, by the way, here's 27 million people that might want to work for you, and you're just excluding them because they don't meet some algorithm or some criteria. Yeah. Carrie, I need to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll talk about some advice for job seekers who may be excluded. You're going to want to stay tuned right here on BRN AM. Imagine a new television network that will make you richer, healthier, and in control of your financial future. This network is for the policewoman in Nashville, Tennessee, the baker in Dubuque, Iowa, the teacher in Lexington, Kentucky. We want to make the idea of savings and retirement culturally relevant. But what do you see as a defining issue of the midterms, especially for the smaller businesses? I mean, they are the lifeblood of the American economy. Featuring exclusive interviews, current affairs, and docuseries. 33 years old, you retired early.
The philosophy is money only matters if it helps you live a life that you love.
But you got to start thinking about retirement as soon as you get in.
The Broadcast Retirement Network will drive very high engagement with premium partnerships. So this isn't retirement and savings for your parents or grandparents. This is for all Americans. And we're going to change the way you think about money. Welcome to the next frontier of retirement and savings. This is BRN, the Broadcast Retirement Network.
Are you stuck with a low credit score? A credit report and score that's causing you to be denied credit or pay higher interest rates than others for the same things? Then do what Terrence did and call Credit Repaired for your free credit evaluation to help restore your credit.
I started thinking about buying a new house, and my score wasn't where I needed it to be. I called and spoke with one of the representatives, and we just had a good conversation, and I liked what he was saying.
Just one call for his free credit evaluation was all it took to start back on the track to repairing his credit.
I'm seeing the deletions and I'm getting the report, so I know something's being done. It does make a difference to me.
All it takes is one call to get started.
Credit Repair has given me a second chance to have a better credit score.
Don't let a low credit score hold you back another day. Do what Terrence did and make the call for your free credit evaluation.
Call 800-819-4152. That's 800-819-4152. Again, 800-819-4152.
Welcome back. We're talking this morning to Carrie Hannon. She's an author and columnist. Carrie, thanks so much for staying with us this morning.
Absolutely.
All right, let's crack the code here. And I'm always reminded of a biology teacher when we talked about DNA. Watson and Crick, they cracked the DNA code. If they can crack the DNA code and identify the different chromosomes, then we should be able to crack the code here for helping people find jobs. So give us some advice. How do we make sure that our resume is seen by potential employers?
Okay, so the number one thing, and this has nothing to do with the AI piece, Jeff, is that employers hire the way they always have, to be honest with you. They hire people they know or people they know. So in order to get your resume seen, you absolutely have to make a connection with someone at that company where you are applying that can get your resume in front of somebody. It's who you know. So network. If you can do a LinkedIn search, who do you know at that company that can really deliver your resume to a human? So it's that human element. It does exist. It is actually how most employers still prefer to hire, if they have a referral from an existing employee, if they know somebody who knows you. So that's really your key to getting in the door for an interview.
Can I just interrupt you real quickly? That's character. Character matters. The qualitative things matter, Carrie. You're not going to pick that up on the AI. Anyway, I'm just giving a little commentary. Didn't mean to interrupt you. Please continue.
No, back to the AI piece. This is the one piece of advice that is so antithetical to everything we've all been taught. You have to plagiarize, all right? You have to literally, people think, oh, I can't just copy and paste from the actual job description into my resume. Do it. Take the exact same language that's in that posting, put it in your resume. Just copy, just plagiarize the exact thing, and then you'll change it up for every single employer you're sending your resume to, so it matches. Because if those words aren't matching exactly, then you're going to go right through that system. And that's really important to remember, because you're not writing this for a human. No one's going to say you plagiarized. I would get fired for that. But that is the key, the essential step to doing that.
Yeah, and I should point out, Carrie's books, everything she writes, it's all in her brain. It is not copy and pasted at all. But Carrie, you bring up a really good point. Well, what about cover letters? Cover letters, are they still important? When I was a kid, 16, 17, 18, looking for a job, I'd write a cover letter that came with my resume. Do people still do that, or is it just fill out the form?
Yeah, it depends. I'll tell you, Jeff, a lot of employers do ask for a cover letter to attach. It's up to you whether you want to do it or not. It's usually an option. I encourage you to do that. I think it's really important, and actually maybe a human will look at that. And when you do, they're short, just 3 little tight paragraphs. And, the most important thing is to say exactly what job it is you're applying for. Second thing, why you're passionate about it. Show some reason why this is all about you and what you can do for them, why this is magic for you, what they do. And that's your second graph. The third one is, do you know somebody there whose name you can throw out? Do you know some personal reference of some kind that you can put in that third graph and just say, I'm really looking forward to carrying on the conversation? Yeah,
that's really good advice. And Carrie, I guess, if you view this as almost like a way to filter, which it is, and the concern is about a bottleneck. So if people take the advice that you are suggesting, which is network through LinkedIn and Facebook and all the other social media platforms, know people, at some point, if you're able to crack this AI code, you're going to be deluged with candidates, because people are adaptive. They're going to say, okay, well, Carrie Hannon wrote a great piece in Market Watch. She's got a great book. And she also was on BRN, gave this advice. Now there are all the millions of people that are following you, and they're mostly probably PBS, new Next Avenue and Market Watch, not yet BRN, but they're probably, now they're going to jump the system. So the people who are reviewing the resumes are going to get more resumes to review, and actually they're going to have more candidates. So the bottleneck just shifts further down the supply chain.
It does, but I think that's going to help the hiring process all that down the line. And it's just important to make that human connection with a company. And I understand the reasons why we have this filtering system, but I mostly use, these virtual, the job boards and everything to find out what's out there. And then I try to go to the company directly, whether to apply on their website or to find that person who I can send my resume to, and they can send it on. One thing that's hard is when you're an older worker, and I mean experienced worker, is you kind of go like, hey, my resume is perfect. I mean, don't they see that I fit this job perfectly? And you kind of take for granted all the things that you've done, and you think your resume shows that. But if you are not, paying attention to those precise words, the precise language of what they're looking for and your skills that they're looking for, they'll pass you right by.
Yeah, it's about being adaptive, regardless if you are an experienced worker or a new worker. You've got to adapt to the situation. This is a new paradigm, right? I mean, we are constantly, we just lived through we are living through the age of COVID, where we're learning new details every day about this disease, and things change every day, forces us into being uncomfortable around that situation. You've got to put yourself in an uncomfortable situation and adapt in order to succeed, I think, in this new world.
Yes, but Jeff, you can do one basic resume, but for every single job you're going to send your resume to, every online job and resume submission, customize it.
Yeah, good advice. Well, Carrie, next time you come back, we'll talk a little bit about the book. Maybe you'll have an update that there are now 27 million people who are no longer hidden. They're now employed. Carrie Hannon, always a pleasure chatting with you. Thanks so much for joining us on the program this morning.
Take care.
That wraps up this episode of BRN AM. Have a topic of interest, someone you think we should talk to, drop us a line. And don't forget, for all the information in retirement, markets, technology, personal finance, so much more, check out today's edition of our daily newsletter, The Morning Pulse. We're back again tomorrow. Until then, I'm Jeff Snyder. Stay safe, keep on saving, and don't forget, roll with the changes.
Are you being audited, and do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate your tax bill and reduce your stress. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts, but you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will work with you using our years of experience to represent your case to help you get the best resolution under the IRS guidelines. Help is here to deal with the IRS to reduce your stress. We've handled thousands of cases, so we know what we're doing. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, do not call the IRS alone. Call a Tax Doctor now for a tax emergency analysis.
Call 800-224-6439.